didn't get it right and you were left open to large penalties.
Wow, that's good to know.
Okay.
I got one more question. Am I allowed another question?
You're allowed another question.
Okay. And this is confusing for me, just because, you know, I've been in the U.S. probably the last 10 years and then a few years before that for a couple of years. And, of course, I've been contributing to both Canadian Pension Plan and to Social Security in the U.S. I'm just wondering how that is dealt with when you retire. Do they blend the two, or do you get two separate? And my wife actually works in Canada and lives here, but I've been kind of paying her as an employee a monthly stipend and claiming her on taxes, and plus she's the treasurer of our condo association. So,
and you both have green cards.
For Medicare and all that other stuff as well.
Okay, and you both have green cards, right?
Yeah, we just applied for U.S. citizenship, actually. We just went in for fingerprinting last week.
Okay. Well, the good part about it is that you are going to get two pensions. But you have to put in for 30 years to Social Security to get what you actually earn. If you don't put in for 30 years, a thing called the Windfall Elimination Provision, WEP, takes away a small percentage, about 20% of the pension that you would get. And that wouldn't matter, doesn't matter, that's if you came from Canada, or it would apply if you moved from, or a teacher that moved from Florida to Oklahoma, because Florida teachers have a different thing and they don't pay into Social Security. So what it is if you didn't pay into Social Security for a total of 30 years, they claw a little bit of it back because of the other pension that you have. In your case, you've got the Canada Pension Plan. In case of a teacher moving from Florida to Oklahoma, there would be a Florida pension that they would get that is not Canada Pension Plan, but it has the same effect. It takes the place of Social Security. So you're going to get one of each. Now, did you live in Canada for 20 years before you left? Or for 20 years after you turned 18? Were you over 38 when you left?
Yes. Well, I left for a few years and came back and then left again when I was 40. So I think I'm pretty well.
Well, you have to have lived in Canada for 20 years after you turned 18 to take your old age pension out of the country. So if you only... And I actually have a Point Roberts person who's only been able to prove 19 years and 3 months and isn't getting his old age pension.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, it's from the day I turned out at 18. I went to university, but then I didn't start work till after university.
It's not a question of working. That's Canada Pension Plan. Old age pension is just being physically present in the country after you turn 18.
Okay, and if I was out of the country for a couple of years in the middle,
you have to be able.
I think I've barely squeaked by.
Well, as I say, I've got one right now that's 19 years, 3 months, and he's not getting his old age pension. Now, he can move back to Canada and live here for a year and then qualify himself and start getting a pension and then move away. But he has to physically prove that he lived in Canada for more than 20 years after turning 18 to take your pension out of the country.
Interesting. Now, my wife, her working in the U.S., in Canada, and I'm just wondering about Medicare, when she would qualify or how she would qualify for that.
Well, she's not paying into Medicare, and because, well, I'm sure she is. You're paying her, and is she filing a self-employed return?
Yes.
So then she's paying U.S. Social Security.
Yes.
On her self-employment.
She only gets like $3,000 or $4,000 a year in income.
Okay, if she gets $5,000 a year, that qualifies her for 4 credits. In 4 credits, she needs 40 credits, which is 10 years, to qualify for full U.S. Medicare.
Okay. Now, how does that work with one spouse getting it, one doesn't? Do they actually distinguish between?
Well, you're going to get it too, though.
Right, but I believe I qualify. I was worried about her qualifying.
Well, I just said, if she works for you for 10 years, she's going to qualify on her own.
Okay, but I don't think we haven't been doing that long.
Well, it doesn't matter. If she doesn't, then she'll get something because of being married to you. But if she works for 10 years, she will qualify on her own.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so you make sure you pay her $5,000 a year for 10 years.
Excellent idea.
Okay.
All right, well, thanks. I'll probably be calling you.
Now, I got a suggestion for you. Even though you're an American,
yeah.
You are an American now. Your wife is living in Canada.
No.
Fred Snyder. No, I'm sorry, working.
She lives with me here. She just drives across to go to work.
She's working in Canada, is what I'm saying. Just around the corner from you, on October 15th, at 3 o'clock till 6, we're having a seminar. Fred Snyder's putting a seminar on at the Pink Palace, you know, the Pacific Inn Resort.
Oh, right, yeah.
At 1160 King George Highway.
King George Highway, yep.
It's on from 3 o'clock to 6 p.m. And even though we're dealing mainly with Canadian stuff, you might find it interesting if you can make the time to for you and your wife to come and see that. If you want to, you have to phone area code 604-731-8900 to register. And it's free, and 3 hours long, and we're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff. And I will be there if you have another question you want to ask, or you want me to look at something.
Is it on your website, Fred?
Yes, it is. Richard, is my website up and running yet?
The new one, no.
No. So the old one's still running?
The old one's still running.
Yeah, Richard happens to be working on my website right now, but the old one is still running, so it likely is not on there at this particular point.
Sorry, we've got a pen now.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Richard's just bringing it up. It's 1160 King George Highway in Surrey, White Rock there, and that's at the exit 2B off the Highway 99.
Yeah, I know
it's at 8th Avenue in King George. You know.
Can't miss it.
What's the number to register?
Okay.
Yes, that's the number to register.
So if you come and say hello to me, and I'll give you a blended U.S. Canadian flag like the one that's
nice.
up behind me. Okay.
Well, I live right on the border. My next door neighbor's in Canada, so that's how close I am.
Well, my best friend is, and Richard does work for him as well, is David Hancock, who lives on 0 Avenue on the other side, so I got you.
Right, well, I really appreciate your help, guys.
Oh, yeah, you take care. Thanks for calling.
No, you come out to Fred's seminar, and I know you'll get something out of it.
Excellent.
All right.
Take care. Bye for now.